Garbage patches. There are 5 garbage patches in our oceans. True or false? No, actually, yes. Garbage patches are reality. Large materials constantly moving within the gyres. In reality, our oceans are like a plastic soup full of tiny particles of plastic as well as larger surface area materials. Are you aware that less than 5% of the world's plastic is recycled currently? In fact, it takes over 500 years to photodegenerate plastics. Did you know that there are over 100 million tons of plastics in the world's oceans? And because of that, there are plastics inside of each of us as well. This is the flow of the currents of the oceans. This is how the 5 gyres came about. The plastic has been within the ocean and came 80% from the land. Therefore, these gyres have become a giant place for them to propagate. And the plastics do not break down like we would hope. In fact, some of these garbage bags, like the plastic bag shown here, can take 400 to 1,000 years to decompose. And while they decompose and photodegenerate, they cause floating toxic microplastics that the fish think is food and eat. Therefore, when we eat the fish, it totally messes up the whole food chain. There is an increasing over 100 times in the past 40 years the amount of microplastic concentration in the North Pacific gyre alone. That's the largest one. There's also 54% of the 120 marine animals that are within our oceans have either been caught by this plastic or ingested this plastic. So it's a big problem. Also, the tsunami that we recently had in Japan adds to the debris within the Great North Pacific Gyre. And this is by a demographic of that. And so not only do land masses cause problems, but tsunamis and things like that add aid to the gyre. Now this is a slice of the gyre and how it actually comes about. The larger particles are mostly on top and float around in the swirl-like manner. But there's about 100 or about 10 meters down, 50% of the plastic hangs out here. And this is the smaller plastics. Now this is a table of all the different patches and how much plastic they had currently found within the patches. Over 36,000 tons of plastic were found within each of the 5 major patches. And so it's like a plastic soup that's located in the sea. And we have a particle density problem that has become overrun. So this is a video that explains what exactly is a gyre. And it gives a really good overview of the problem in and of itself. Let's watch.
So a gyre is a natural phenomenon. A gyre is simply a rotating current system that's comprised of the Earth's rotation coupled with currents and prevailing winds. So it's essentially like a massive whirlpool, a vortex in the oceans. Say a piece of floating plastic from California in the North Pacific Gyre can take 10 years to make the rotation from California to Japan and all the way back.
10
So what we
years.
have found is that these plastic particles are not just in the North Pacific Gyre, they're in all 5 subtropical gyres, and all these gyres have several garbage patches in them. 8 garbage patches total in the 5 gyres.
8 garbage patches
So that was our
total.
inspiration to start the 5 Gyres Institute, to look at this plastic pollution issue on a global scale and try and show the world this is an international problem. These plastics are coming from every continent in the world, and solutions have to be on the international level. When I first heard this talk in 2001 from Captain Moore, I heard description of an island of garbage that people were calling the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. In the media, it was described as a Texas-sized island.
It's really hard to quantify how much plastic is flooding the world's oceans. These garbage patches that exist in the gyres, they're elusive, they change shape, they move around. You may trawl for 10 hours straight, you'll get a handful of plastic. You put it back in 10 hours more, and there's nothing.
So it's essentially like a plastic soup of all of this disposable waste that we create on land masses from California to Asia, Canada, Mexico, enters this North Pacific Gyre and gets swept up into this accumulation zone.
Islands in the gyres we're discovering are the natural nets for trash at sea. It's impractical to try and scoop out trash out of the ocean. What we can do is wait for it to wash ashore. So to clean a gyre, clean your beach, clean your watershed, clean your street,
So that gives you a kind of a good overview of what gyres are and how they function. And it gives us a chance to take a look at the two larger gyres, which the largest, the North Pacific, and the western and eastern garbage patches are the smaller two and how they rotate around Japan. This shows you a really good idea of how much plastic is actually in each one of these. The largest being the Great North Pacific, and then also the other one as well there. So who is doing something about all of the plastic in our oceans? The 5 Gyres Project is a non-profit international venture that is doing quite a bit of stuff to make awareness all over the world. So what can we as citizens do about this? Here is a video about some ideas for change that we as a community, as a whole world, could implement to make a difference in this problem that we have.
The world is blue. You look at it from space. That image should alone inspire us to think that we too are sea creatures. We're as dependent on the ocean as any whale or any coral reef. Take away the ocean and know us. We have looked to the ocean as a place to put things we don't want, and a place to take things that seemed in infinite quantity. We'll never run out of fish, it was thought. We've lost on the order of 90% of many of the big fish like tunas, swordfish, sharks, marlin, cod. Some of the techniques for fishing should definitely be banned. That includes bottom trolling. They're so destructive. It's like using a bulldozer to catch songbirds. You shake out a few pounds of protein, but you destroy the forest and everything that's in it. What can you do? Think about what you're eating. Make better choices. Know where the fish come from. I think of the ocean as the blue heart of the planet. Well, how much of your heart do you want to protect?
So as you can see, there is a major problem with not just the way we fish, but the way we treat our plastics, how much plastics we use. But there has been some creative ideas for cleanup. There is a 19-year-old boy in Slat who came up with an amazing idea. He's an engineer, and he came up with a manta ray platform that is still in the conceptual testing phase that will possibly clean up all the gyres within the next 5 years. He's hoping to extract over 7,250,000,000 kilograms of plastic out of the ocean. He wants to implement 24 of these within the gyres. And there is a direct quote from Buoyant Slat. Imagine a zigzagged array of just 24 of these platforms cleaning an entire ocean. Cited from TEDx Talks. Therefore, the garbage patches are real and there. Plastic photosynthesis is causing great harm to our ecosystem and the great implication of how it will grow if we don't worry about the garbage more often. So this is Rishi Richards' island, and he actually created this island out of 100,000 plastic bottles. He utilized them underneath the island as a buoyancy with netting and marine plants. He has collected everything you see on this island from the area. So what can we do to help? We can throw things away properly. We can make sure that we have less plastic trash that we do throw away. Buy less things with plastic. There is so much more that we could do to help this problem, to bring more conscientious things to thought of our garbage and how much we create and how much we recycle. Thank you.